Time is relentless. It buries once great civilizations, erases thousands of cultures, and reduces even the greatest monuments to dust. Yet against all odds, some artifacts refuse to vanish. These objects weren't just lucky to be found. They shouldn't have survived at all. Whether they were made of fragile materials, lost in the depths of history, or exposed to the brutal elements, these 15 ancient objects defy logic, almost as if they were meant to endure. Some of them challenge what we think we know about history. Others carry secrets that modern science still struggles to decode. A few simply shouldn't exist, at least according to what we understand about the time periods they come from. But they do. And their survival changes everything. From lost technologies and impossible maps to mysterious scrolls and ancient engineering marvels, these are the 15 ancient objects that should have never survived, but did. Number 15. The Ulfberht swords. Viking swords were deadly, but the Ulfberht swords were something else entirely, so advanced that they were centuries ahead of their time. Forged between 800 and 1000 AD, these blades contained nearly pure steel, something that shouldn't have been possible until the Industrial Revolution 800 years later. To put it into perspective, medieval blacksmiths struggled with impurities in their metal, which made swords brittle. But the Ulfberht swords? They had almost no impurities, stronger, sharper, and lighter than anything of their time. How did Viking blacksmiths achieve this level of metalwork? No one knows for sure. Even more mysterious is the fact that the swords were marked with the name +ULFBERH+T, but no one knows if that was the name of a person, a guild, or something else entirely. Some say these weapons were stolen technology from the Middle East. Others believe they were made using a lost technique. Either way, the Ulfberht swords remain a mystery that shouldn't exist. Number 14. Greek fire. Imagine an ancient superweapon that could set the sea on fire. That's exactly what the Byzantine Empire's Greek fire could do. A secret incendiary weapon so terrifying that its formula was never written down for fear of it falling into the wrong hands. Greek fire was reportedly used in naval battles, sticking to enemy ships and burning them even when doused in water. Some accounts describe it as shooting out like a modern flamethrower, engulfing entire fleets in flames. But here's the problem. We have no idea how it was made. Despite centuries passing, traces of Greek fire have survived, along with descriptions of its devastating effects. Modern scientists have tried to recreate it using petroleum, quicklime, and sulfur, but no one has managed to fully replicate the original. How did the Byzantines invent a weapon so advanced for its time? And why was its secret lost forever? Well, on Earth, no one knows the answers. Number 13. Otzi the Iceman. Mummies don't usually last 5,300 years, especially not ones buried in the wild. But Otzi the Iceman, discovered in 1991 in the Alps, somehow survived, perfectly preserved in a frozen tomb of ice since 3,300 BC. His survival is insane. Normally, organic material rots away, but Otzi's skin, clothes, tools, and even his last meal remained intact. Scientists have even examined his tattoos, stomach contents, and DNA, learning that he was murdered, shot in the back with an arrow and left to die. What's even crazier? The conditions had to be exactly right for Otzi to survive. If the ice had melted even slightly, bacteria would have destroyed him. If animals had found him, there'd be nothing left. And yet, he remained frozen, waiting for us to find him 5,300 years later. But the strangest part? Many people involved in Otzi's discovery have died under mysterious circumstances. Coincidence or a curse? Well, let us know. Now let's talk about number 12, Roman concrete. Modern concrete breaks down in a few decades, but Roman concrete? It has survived 2,000 years, standing strong in aqueducts, roads, and even the Pantheon, while modern buildings crack and crumble. The secret? A lost formula. Roman engineers mixed volcanic ash with seawater, creating a material that actually gets stronger over time, a feat modern science still struggles to match. Some Roman harbors are still intact today, despite being battered by the sea for centuries. So why did we lose this knowledge? No one wrote the full formula down. As the empire collapsed, the secret of Roman concrete disappeared with it. Today, scientists are desperately trying to reverse engineer the ancient mix, hoping to rediscover its durability. What did the Romans know that we don't? And if they had continued developing their technology, how far ahead of us would they be today? Number 11. The London Hammer. A modern hammer embedded in ancient rock. That's the mind-bending mystery of the London Hammer, discovered in Texas in 1936. It looks like an ordinary 19th century tool, but the kicker? The rock surrounding it is estimated to be 400 million years old. How does that make sense? Some claim it's proof of time travel or a lost advanced civilization. Others say it's just a modern hammer that got encased in mineral deposits over time, a natural phenomenon that can create misleading artifacts. Still, the mystery remains. If this really is an ancient object, it shouldn't exist. Even if the dating is wrong, the way it's fused into the rock raises questions. Did someone in the past accidentally drop their hammer into prehistoric stone? Or is this just another case of history playing tricks on us? Number 10. The Copper Scroll. Among the Dead Sea Scrolls, one stands apart: the Copper Scroll. Unlike the others, which were written on parchment or papyrus, this one was engraved on metal, a clear sign that its message was meant to last. But what makes it truly mind-blowing? It's not a religious text, it's a treasure map. The Copper Scroll describes 64 secret locations where vast amounts of gold and silver were supposedly hidden. But here's the catch. None of the treasure has ever been found. Some believe the Romans looted it centuries ago. Others think it's still buried, waiting to be uncovered. Why would someone go to the trouble of etching a detailed treasure list onto copper? Did they expect the locations to be lost? Or were they trying to protect their wealth from an invading force? Whatever the truth, the Copper Scroll has survived for over 2,000 years, and its treasure remains missing. Number 9. The Paracas Skulls. In 1928, Peruvian archaeologist Julio Tello unearthed a massive ancient graveyard in the Paracas Peninsula. Inside, he found some of the strangest human skulls ever discovered, elongated, with bizarre anatomical differences that made them look almost non-human. Many ancient cultures practiced cranial deformation, where children's skulls were bound to create an elongated shape. But the Paracas skulls were different. Some had larger cranial volumes, missing sutures, and an unusual foramen magnum position, where the skull connects to the spine. These features aren't seen in normal human skulls. In 2014, DNA tests claimed to reveal mutations unknown in humans or primates. While skeptics argue that these were simply genetic variations, others believe they could be evidence of an undiscovered ancient species, or something even stranger. Whatever the truth, these skulls shouldn't have survived for over 2,000 years in such pristine condition, leaving us with a mystery that science still struggles to explain. Number 8. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls should have crumbled into dust thousands of years ago. Instead, they survived for over 2,000 years inside desert caves, an accidental time capsule of biblical and historical significance. First discovered in 1946 by a shepherd, the scrolls include ancient Hebrew texts, fragments of the Old Testament, and even previously unknown writings. But how did they survive? The dry desert climate preserved them, but the fact that they remained hidden through centuries of war, invasions, and looters is nothing short of a miracle. Even stranger is the copper scroll, an etched metal document that details the locations of hidden treasure. No one knows if the wealth was ever found, or if it still lies buried. If just one mistake had been made, one flood, one looter, one misplaced step, these scrolls would be gone forever. But they weren't, and they continue to rewrite history to this day. Number 7. Nan Madol. Deep in the Pacific, off the coast of Pohnpei, lies Nan Madol, a city built on water, 1,000 years before Venice. Constructed on 100 artificial islands, the city was made using massive basalt columns, each weighing up to 50 tons. But how? And why hasn't it sunk? No one knows exactly how the Sodelur dynasty managed to move, stack, and arrange such colossal stones. No mortar was used, yet the structures still stand today, defying both time and nature. Even modern engineers struggle to explain its construction. Local legends claim the city was built with levitation magic and a flying dragon. Realistically, it served as a ceremonial and political center, but its exact purpose and its impossible survival remain a mystery. Nan Madol should have eroded, collapsed, or sunk centuries ago. Yet, it remains standing, an ancient fortress lost to time and waves, daring us to uncover its secrets. Number 6. The James Ossuary. A 2,000-year-old limestone box shouldn't be that special, except when it bears the words, James, son of Joseph, brother of Jesus. If authentic, the James Ossuary would be the first physical evidence of Jesus Christ's family. Discovered in 2002, the ossuary quickly sparked controversy. Was the inscription genuine, or was it a modern forgery? After a 7-year trial, the owner was acquitted, but scholars remain divided. Skeptics argue that the inscription was altered later, while supporters believe it's the real deal, a direct link to biblical history. But here's the strangest part. The ossuary itself is unquestionably ancient, meaning someone, at some point, carved this name into a relic that survived 2 millennia. Whether it's real or fake, the James Ossuary should have never survived this long. But it did, and as long as it exists, the debate over its authenticity will never die. Number 5. The Klerksdorp Spheres. Found in South Africa, the Klerksdorp spheres are small metallic orbs, some with perfectly straight grooves running around them. The strangest part? They were discovered in 3-billion-year-old rock. That means they either formed naturally, which some geologists claim, or they were made by an unknown civilization billions of years ago. The problem? No known life at the time should have been capable of making metal objects. Some claim the spheres are just natural formations, created over millennia by volcanic ash and sediment. But others point to their perfect symmetry and straight grooves, arguing that nature rarely produces such precision. Are they evidence of an advanced pre-human civilization? Or just another bizarre trick of geology? Either way, these spheres shouldn't exist, yet here they are, defying both science and history. Number 4. The Dashka Stone. The Dashka Stone, also called the Map of the Creator, is a 900-kilogram stone slab that appears to be an ancient topographical map. Found in Russia's Ural Mountains in 1999, the map supposedly depicts the landscape as it was 120 million years ago, long before humans ever existed. What's even more baffling is its 3-layered composition, suggesting it was engineered rather than naturally formed. The markings show rivers, mountains, and even man-made structures, leading some to believe it's evidence of a prehistoric advanced civilization, or something not human at all. Skeptics argue that the patterns are just natural formations, but the level of detail and precision raise questions. If this really is a map, who made it? And how did they see Earth from above long before flight was invented? Number 3. The Phaistos disk. Discovered in 1908 on the Greek island of Crete, the Phaistos disc is a clay artifact covered in 241 symbols arranged in a spiral pattern. Each symbol was stamped into the clay before it was fired, making it one of the earliest known examples of printing, if it's actually a written language. That's the problem. No one can read it. Unlike other ancient scripts, the symbols on the Phaistos disc have never been found anywhere else, meaning there's no Rosetta Stone to decode it. Some believe it's a prayer, a calendar, or even a game, while others argue it could be a forgery. Even stranger, it shouldn't have survived. A fragile clay disc, buried for over 3,500 years, should have shattered long ago. Instead, it remains intact, a message from the past that refuses to be understood. Until we crack the code, the Phaistos disc will remain one of history's greatest puzzles. Number 2. The Baghdad Battery. Electricity wasn't supposed to exist in the ancient world. And yet, buried in the ruins of Parthian-era Iraq, archaeologists found something impossible: a 2,000-year-old clay jar that might have been a working battery. Known as the Baghdad Battery, this small ceramic vessel contains a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When filled with an acidic liquid, like vinegar or lemon juice, it can generate a small electric charge. But why? Some believe it was used for electroplating gold onto metal, while others think it was part of a religious ritual, producing a weak but shocking sensation. Skeptics argue it was just a storage jar, and that its electrical properties are purely coincidental. Regardless of its true purpose, the fact that it survived for 2 millennia is incredible. Whether it was an ancient battery, a lost technology, or just a weirdly designed jar, the Baghdad Battery shouldn't exist, but it does. Number 1. The Antikythera mechanism. If one ancient artifact defies everything we thought we knew, it's the Antikythera mechanism. Discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1901, this bronze device is often called the world's first analog computer, and it's over 2,000 years old. Using a complex system of gears, dials, and inscriptions, the Antikythera mechanism could predict eclipses, track planetary movements, and calculate the timing of the Olympic Games. This level of engineering was thought to be centuries ahead of its time, so much so that nothing even close to its complexity appeared again until the 14th century. How did the ancient Greeks develop such advanced technology? And if they were capable of this, what else did they know that we've lost? The fact that it spent 2,000 years underwater and still functions today is nothing short of a miracle. If anything shouldn't have survived history, it's this. But it did, and it changed everything. If you have enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.